I like to run up the canyon near my home. Once, as I came around a bend, I saw a mountain lion dart into the trees. And around the next bend, I saw three attractive middle-aged women walking toward me. With just a moment to give them a warning, I blurted out, "Beware of the cougar." It took me about 10 minutes. I wasn't always so dumb. When I was a kid, I remember very distinctly when the Teton Dam failed back in 1976. About 80% of the structures in Rexburg, Idaho were damaged or destroyed by the flood. Well, later that summer, my father came to me and he said, "Devin, I'm going with a church group up to Rexburg to dig the muck and mud out of basements. Would you like to come?" I kind of thought, well, playing in the mud sounds like a good time to me. So, yeah, sure. So we got on buses about 2 o'clock in the morning, rode through the night, got there at dawn, worked all day, got back on the buses at dark. Well, you may not be aware of this, but I'm not a very big man. Picture me as an 11-year-old. I could barely lift the empty shovel, forget putting any mud on it. So the fact is I probably didn't do any good, but I sure felt like I had. So I vowed that I would never miss an opportunity to serve. Well, I did. I missed a lot of opportunities to serve over the years, but I had a successful 25-year finance career, and then I was fired from the very best job I'd ever had as the CFO of a global food and beverage company. And I channeled that enthusiasm of my youth to set a new course. Today, I work as a new media journalist, contributing regularly to Forbes, and hosting luminary change agents on my YouTube show. I've written 5 books, and I'm blessed to be able to be invited to travel the world as a speaker, sharing the stories I write about. Well, I call myself a champion of social good, and I aim to help solve some of the world's biggest problems by bringing attention to those who are doing the most good. I really believe that by 2045, we can live in a world without hunger or extreme poverty, where we've turned the corner on climate change and where we have eradicated many diseases. All we have to do today is to make decisions about the way we live, work, and invest in order to bring about that future. As Gandhi said, famously, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Apparently, I thought the world needed to put on a little weight last year. In my view, there are 3 kinds of people. People who are generous with their time, people who are generous with their money, and people who like cat videos. Now, I'm not going to tell you which kind of person I am, but you can find my video collection at youtube.com/Devin Thorpe. When I turned 40, I complied with the law and purchased a Harley Davidson. And when I brought it home and parked it in front of our downtown condo, Gail, my wife, said to me, "Devin, you realize I am never getting on this motorcycle with you." I couldn't blame her. I wasn't sure I wanted to get on it with me. A few minutes later, I put it down in the underground parking lot, and Gail said to me, "Maybe you could just take me for a ride around the garage." And thus began our extended menage a trois. The 3 of us were almost inseparable. About 90 days later, I got invited to do some business up in Soda Springs, Idaho, where they have their own fake geyser. And so we left on a Friday evening, rode up to northern Utah, stayed there overnight, got up in the morning, and rode up to Soda Springs and did our business. And then we rode over to Bear Lake on the Utah-Idaho border. And then from there, we rode over to Evanston, Wyoming, and then down into Park City, where we had a nice dinner. Then we cruised on into Salt Lake, where we kind of arrived happy and tired. About 3 miles from home, still on the freeway going about 60 miles an hour, we got cut off in traffic and crashed. I remember sliding across the concrete, but Gail tumbled. I crawled, fearing the worst, the distance of about 10 yards between us. And just as I was nearing her, I heard the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. She was crying. She couldn't move, but she was alive. Well, within 30 seconds, there was an off-duty EMT helping us, and within a minute, there was a doctor. In 5 minutes, we were on our way to the hospital. In the emergency room, because of the trauma and the meds, Gail didn't say much that was lucid, but she did say one thing. Devin, we're selling the motorcycle. It turns out that she had broken bones in all of her arms and legs. They put her into intensive care over the weekend, and then on Monday she had an 11-hour surgery with 2 teams of surgeons, one working on her arm, one working on her leg. Thank heaven the surgery was a success. It says a lot about me, however, that the low point of this whole experience came for me a few days later when the nurse came to me and said, Devin, tomorrow we're sending your wife home. How was I going to take care of a woman who couldn't do anything for herself? I was in a panic. I called our family, friends, our faith community, and they blew me away. They rallied around and they took care of us until Gail regained the use of one arm and one leg and could begin caring for herself. I'll never forget how I felt, like a soldier who was all alone, out of ammo, under fire, and ready to surrender when the cavalry arrived. Now, whatever you remember from today, I hope you will take away this simple message. Sometimes you get to play in the mud, and sometimes you are the cavalry. Now, let's do some good.